Previously on No Reserves Radio.
Oh my God, Angelo, come on, have some self-respect. The Eagles can't hurt you if you don't constantly pander to them.
Here's the biggest indictment of Dame that I can say. Dame has been so off this year that Ren went on live air and said Jalen Brunson deserved an all-star start over him.
You are now Angelo Dudululo.
Do you think it is possible that the management of the Memphis Grizzlies are just buying into the reckless youth movement and they got rid of the one person in the locker room that probably was telling Ja to knock it off?
Because he's taken advantage of me multiple times when I was younger. That sounded bad. Holy shit.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think you're correct in that assessment.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of No Reserves Radio. With us on an unnormal day, Monday, but you'll still be getting this at Thursday. With me, as always, is Alex. And Alex, how's your week been?
Hey, how's it going, guys? How are you, Angelo? I mean, week went fine. Plenty of football. Got one more office day than I'm usually used to, but I managed to have an extra day off of the office this week. So this is why we can record at an actual good time on Mondays. So happy days. Not so happy days is that the next football show that you'll hear, and I guess we can start off with that. The next football show that you hear from us will come out on either Saturday or Sunday.
I think I'm aiming for Sunday a few hours before the game starts.
Okay.
If
Stay
we
tuned
record
for that.
2 hours, then probably around 11 or
Yeah.
10. Something around
So
there, yeah.
stay tuned for that because that's gonna be the norm right now. Is that 1 week we release at the normal time, so Tuesday and Thursday, and in other weeks we'll release the shows on Tuesday and then on Sunday. So plenty of football. Apparently I am not the curse. Apparently Angelo is the curse right now. No, I don't know. I don't know because if I was the curse, the Ravens would have for sure blown that lead, and they didn't. So yeah, um, plenty to talk about. This best team in the NFL won again, the Minnesota Vikings with their MVP candidate Sam Darnold. Good stuff from them. The best rookie QB maybe ever won again, and maybe the best NFC team won as well. In the
So wait a
Washington
minute.
Commanders.
Are you ready to say that Jaden Daniels was a better prospect than Caleb Williams?
No, he's not a better prospect, but he's playing better than Caleb.
Not a better
He's not a better prospect. Caleb was a better prospect out of basically everything that you look at. And again, people usually like mistake the generational tag and they hate the generational tag, but it's not like we're saying that he was a generational NFL quarterback. We're saying that he was a generational prospect because as far as prospects go, he was one of the best ones that we've seen in a bit. I don't think that, for example, Trevor Lawrence was generational. Maybe that's hindsight.
He got the tag used on him.
But he got the tag, sure. But I do think that Caleb, as a prospect, he was generational. He was that much better than the rest. I just think that what he put up on tape and the plays that he was able to do were just like.
I think we are kind of loosey goosey with the term generational at this point. So, can you be head and shoulders above the other quarterbacks in your class, at least on tape, but still not be generational talent? I think yes. And I think the problem that we're coming across is we're labeling these best quarterbacks in each class as generational when that's not necessarily true. Now, I do believe that Trevor Lawrence did get the generational tag because he basically didn't lose in college. And I think that kind of carried the resume, if that makes sense. So,
As you well know, back then I wasn't even 100% sure if Trevor Lawrence was the de facto best QB in that class.
well,
I
I
had
mean,
them like
hindsight,
1A,
yes.
1B. Hindsight, sure. Hindsight, sure. I actually like, wait, in that class, the 2020 class, wasn't that the Brock Purdy class?
I believe so, but Brock Purdy was not.
In hindsight, he was definitely the best QB in
I
that
guess that's
class.
true. I guess that's true.
If we're
But
doing that, but I don't know. Was he actually in that class? I always confuse those.
let's see.
No, he was in the 2022 draft class, I
Trevor
believe.
Lawrence, 22 draft
Which
class.
no, he
So
was not
Trevor
in that draft
Lawrence,
class.
Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones were the big ones out of the 2021.
But that was 2020. Yeah, okay. So he came out on
20,
2022.
yeah. So yes,
So
I think it's more than fair to say Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback out of there. Um, I guess Trey
okay.
Lance still has a shot, but I don't
I'm
know.
just glad you didn't say Justin Fields.
Justin Fields kind of still has a shot too, but I don't
Oh, shut up with that.
know. What?
He has no shot at anything. He's a backup. That's his role.
I mean, Zach Wilson and Mac Jones is a backup too, but Zach Wilson and Mac Jones basically have the same title, except they're not starting.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that either of them have like a shot at usurping Trevor, who has not been good whatsoever. In fact, he has been pretty bad. That's another loss for the Jags this week. So again, since November of last year, they haven't won a game. The last game they won was without Trevor Lawrence. Still, so I would say that maybe, just maybe, could you see a scenario in which Trevor Lawrence gets benched and Mac Jones runs with this? Because
I don't
let's
know
not
if
forget
Mac
that
Jones
first
is
year
going to
with
run
New
with it,
England.
but yes, I think there's a real scenario where Trevor Lawrence does get benched during the season.
The way that I could see it go is because Doug Peterson seems to be at odds with, if not the QB, then a few players in this team. He's constantly taking shots at them in the media, and I believe this week he took another one in which he said that basically like the coaches aren't in there making the plays that are costing the team the game. So I wouldn't be surprised if like at
Wait,
some
what?
point, yeah, he said something along those lines. I can find you the exact quote. Um, oh, yeah. As coaches, where is it? Um, okay, so Doug Peterson was asked about Press Taylor, the offensive coordinator, um, and he said, yeah, he was asked about the possibility of taking over play calling from OC Press Taylor, and he said, "For what? I thought he called a great game." Peterson said of Taylor, "As coaches, we can't go in there and make plays. It's a two-way street."
So he's
So
saying the
it
play calling was right, the execution was not.
Yeah, which like I understand sticking up for your guys, but like it's fairly obvious that Price Taylor is maybe the worst OC in the league right now.
So I decided to look some of this up. Um, God, this is so bad. I decided to look up some of the Jaguars rankings just overall. So points per game, they're sitting at number 30 in the league out of 32. Oh my God. This is so bad. Yards a game. Oh no, this is their defense. Okay, never mind. Okay, points per game, they're sitting at 29. Points giving up, they're sitting at number 30 in the league. And the difference between those two numbers is almost double. 15 points per game, 27.3 points given up per game. Yards. They've they're number 26 in yards offensively. They're number 30 in yards given up. So I get the point about execution on offense. But at the same time, it's kind of like one hand washes the other. If you don't have faith in your defense to get stops, then you're going to try and make more plays on offense, and that's going to lead to more mistakes. I'm sure Trevor is experiencing this, and everyone on that offense is experiencing this. And if you're on the defense and you don't have faith in the offense, then you are also going to make more aggressive plays to try and get more turnovers, to try and get more opportunity, and that's going to lead to more big plays. The only thing good about the Jaguars' offense and defense, well, maybe not the offense, but their run defense is pretty good. Their pass defense is absolutely atrocious.
Oh, is that one of those cases of is the run defense actually good, or like our team's just so comfortable throwing the football against them that they just decide not to run it?
That might be true. Never
Yeah.
mind. Never mind. Never mind. This was opposing rush play percentage. It was number 11. Their actual, oh my god. It's just bad. They're just bad. They're bad. Like
Are the
I don't think you can just put all of this on Trevor Lawrence. Like I'm not saying he's playing good. He's definitely has his flaws. But I don't think he's so bad that if the other stuff wasn't at least league average, that he couldn't be winning games. I think I think him playing his perception of playing as poorly as he is also due in part to how poorly everything else around him is also playing. I think both are to blame. I don't think if you just swap quarterbacks that suddenly all this is, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Mac Jones plays a more conservative game and they putt more so the defense, and they put more and give up less field position so the defense gets more opportunities and gets to play better, and maybe they look better. But right now, it's not just Trevor, it's both units looking bad.
So answer me this. Fill in the blanks. The Jags are a bottom blank team.
5, maybe 3.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say three. I thought I was going to be a bit more aggressive. I thought I was being a bit aggressive. But yeah, like top five, top three. It's definitely like their range right now. They are
Yeah, they're easily
putrid.
bottom 5, and they're probably bottom 3.
I think that it's a whole lot of this is on the coaching staff. But again, if you're being paid 260, 270 million and you're being asked to like carry this franchise on your shoulders, I would expect a bit more of accountability from the QB, and just being able to make the plays to bail out the coaching staff.
So here's the thing. We kind of like set that expectation to Trevor now, but the Jaguars have already spent money like they were on his rookie contract. So I also think you kind of need to point the direction in the Jaguars front office to ask yourself, okay, why have you spent, I don't even know what the number is, but it's something ridiculous like 200 million while Trevor was on his rookie contract. So why hasn't the money you spent really panned out? Because you're looking at people like Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk looks like dust. It feels like the money they just spent money to spend money, and they didn't actually get players that were good. I hate to say it
Uh,
like that, but
I mean, at spots, yeah, I would say like for example the Christian Kirk example that you just mentioned. While we did not like it at the time and we thought it was expensive, um, he did play good for the first like 2 3 years of that deal. So I don't really think it was a bad signing. He exceeded the expectations that were of him. Now, did he play up to that contract? Maybe not. But he was still a very good wide receiver, and I still think he's a very good wide receiver. It's just that the offensive scheme is just so atrocious overall. The play calling is just so bad. The O line is really iffy right now. The defense also isn't doing anything great. It's just overall, it's a
You
star
named
team, and
positions that
it's
they've spent money on. They spent money on all those positions, and they're still performing
sure.
shaky.
And like a few of those signings have been terrible. Like for example, I remember the Shaquille Griffin signing when they got him as a free agent from Seattle. Like I remember being quite surprised at the money that they gave up for him because in Seattle, although he had his moments, he was a very much like an average player, and he got paid like as a top five cornerback in the league, which he most definitely was not, and he ended up being cut a few years afterwards. But it's still overall, I don't know. It feels like there's an effort from the front office, or it was at least an effort from the front office to surround them with good players. Now it didn't pan out. Why didn't it pan out? It's hard to know right now. I would put a lot of the blame on the two main guys, which is the head coach and the QE. They go in the end. I feel like Trevor does deflect a whole lot of blame, and it
Fair.
gets put on Peterson and it gets put on Press Taylor. While I do think that that blame is warranted on those guys, I still think like the chunk
Oh,
of
sure.
fault here should be more on Trevor Lawrence than it actually is.
Here's the thing: is Trevor not getting the blame? Like you just said that your problem with Trevor wasn't necessarily that he was performing. Well, I mean, he is performing bad, but wasn't necessarily the performance, but the fact that he's trying to point the finger in other directions and not take the blame. But I mean, to me, like a team is a team. You're either all in and you're not. So yes, the finger needs to get pointed at Trevor, but like I don't think if you change one person out that the situation is any better. You know what I mean? Like I think that the team might just need to be like blown up at this point. And funny enough, I think if there's someone who can survive the team getting blown up, it might actually be Trevor, believe it or not. He's
I mean,
signed
with the
long
contract,
enough. Yeah.
yeah, with the contract that he has, I would expect so. But again, my whole point here, and we can go back on what we just talked about when we first started talking about the Jags. I remember your immediate reaction was that Trevor Lawrence, and you said this just like 10 minutes ago, that Trevor Lawrence was okay. It was not all on him. Um, and he needed more help. Something along
He
those
does need
lines.
more help.
Which,
That's a fact.
which again, but you are being paid 260, 270 million as a franchise QB. Like, what more can you add, can you want? I mean, they drafted you a wide receiver in the
What can
first
you
round.
want? You could want
You,
talent. They don't have a wide receiver one. The
I
running
mean,
back that
isn't
they
Brian Thomas Jr. supposed to be a wide receiver one in this league?
Hey!
He's a rookie, but hasn't Christian Kirk been a wide receiver one? Like,
Oh, stop
are
it.
we really just saying that their wide receiver core is
If
terrible
you
now?
The wide receiver core has never been good. What are you talking about?
I feel like
Line
that wide receiver core is better
line
than, for
Christian
example,
Kirk
what.
up with the league's other number one wide receivers. Where is he? 20 at the
Okay,
highest?
he's is the wide receiver core of Trevor Lawrence better or worse than the Baltimore Ravens?
The Ravens.
How is the Ravens score better than the Jags score?
Are you saying you'd rather have Christian Kirk than Zay Flowers?
I'd sure rather have Christian Kirk and Brian Thomas Jr. over Zay Flowers and whoever the heck is the second wide receiver on the Ravens right now. Yeah,
Rashawn
because I'm saying
Bateman,
wide
by the
receiver
way.
cores. Oh, again, it's it's most definitely the Jags for me in terms of an
Oh,
actual core. Now, is Zay Flowers in a vacuum a better wide receiver than Christian Kirk?
and that's ignoring the fact
I
that
think that's
the
debatable,
Ravens tight end
but
room is so good that they can just rotate Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely in and out. Like, and that Bretton
but
Strange is now getting significant stats because Evan Ingram is out. Like, no, the
at this
Ravens'
point,
weapons
I'm
are
not
significantly
entirely
better.
at this point I'm not entirely certain if
I'm not certain
if the
that the Ravens'
Ravens.
weapons are significantly better
No,
than
no,
the
no, 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 no,
Jaguars.
no, 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 no. I'm saying I'm not entirely certain if they are rotating the tight ends, and they have that quote unquote luxury, or if the tight ends are just not all that good. Because again, Andrews had one target this week versus the Bills, dropped it by the way, awful drop. Isaiah Likely had two targets this week, so I don't know what to make of that Ravens tight end room. I think maybe Mark Andrews is still feeling the effect of last year's injury, plus the car wreck that he got into this
Sure,
offseason.
absolutely.
I think that's a mix of it. But overall, as a receiving core, I think Trevor Lawrence has probably a bit more to work with than Lamar here.
I don't think so. I don't think that's close.
I mean,
I
he
think
got fan favorite Gabe Davis in town. They
that's
got
another
Christian
factor.
Kirk. They got Brian Thomas Jr. Like,
I
I
think
feel
Brian
like
Thomas Jr. could eventually be the best wide receiver between Baltimore and Jacksonville. But again, he's a rookie. He's not there. Like, I'm not calling Brian Thomas Jr. like Malik Nabers or Marvin Harrison Jr. But like, I just don't think he's there. I think he's still kind of raw. He looks good, but he's still raw, dude. Like,
okay. So, I mean, I think the Jags one is slightly, but I can understand why there's an argument there. So, I think, can we at least agree that it's debatable?
I don't think it's that debate. But yeah, sure, I
We
guess.
were debating it. So, it is debatable. It's not a layup. Okay. Is their wide receiver core better or worse than the Buffalo Bills?
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's. I think
Come
if
on,
you
dude.
take tight ends into account, it's not, but I think it is better just overall.
Dude, they are playing with a rookie, a journeyman, and a fifth round pick as the starting three wide receivers for the Bills. Are you joking? Are you having a
But they kind of.
blast?
But here's the thing: their top two tight ends are better than any tight end that the Jags have on their roster.
I can almost guarantee you that Dawson Knox is not a better tight end than Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram isn't playing; he's hurt.
Yeah, but you're set on the roster. He's on the roster. He's not playing because he's injured. He did not die. So he's gonna be back eventually. And he started the season. He was with this team for the first, I don't know, 2 weeks or 1 week. I don't know. I think it's 2 weeks right now. So he was with the team for the first 2 weeks, and they still suck ass. So what do you want to do? The Jags wide receiver core or the Chiefs wide receiver core?
Chiefs, the Chiefs easily. Are you crazy?
Going forward or just in general?
Both?
I'm not sure if you know, but Rashid Rice apparently tore his ACL. So he's likely going to be out for the season.
But here's the thing: they still have a myriad of players that they can use, like Xavier Worthy.
Um.
Who? Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So Brian Thomas Jr. is raw, but little, tiny, small Xavier Worthy is a veteran of the game.
He's not a veteran of the game, but he has a bigger big play potential than Brian
Brian
Thomas.
Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. had one touchdown catch that went on for, I don't know, like 20 something or 30 something yards this week. And he had another one in which he was wide open. He beat something like the rookie DB for the Houston Texans. I don't know, dude. Jesus Christ. I believe he was from Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. And he's playing cornerback for the Texans. His name was, because I have him in one of my dynasty teams, his name was Kamari Lassiter. That's it. Brian Thomas Jr. beat Kamari Lassiter like easily with a nasty move off the line. Trevor Lawrence overthrew him like by, I don't know, 4 yards. So he could have had like two big plays in the same game. And he has, like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he already has one or two in this season. So I think their big play potential, although Xavier Worthy is slightly better than Brian Thomas Jr., I still think that Brian Thomas Jr. big play potential is nothing to scoff at. So heck, I think Brian Thomas Jr. is more dynamic than Xavier Worthy in terms of what he can do on the field and his usage in that wide receiver core. So I don't really see how you can make an argument for the Chiefs core because Kelsey is still getting into form right now. Then after that, they have Sky Moore. We finally saw Sky Moore again last week. That went for a drop. So good old Sky Moore is back. Um, Other than that, I don't even know the names of the wide receivers in that roster.
Listen,
Yes, Justin
they have
Watson.
Kelsey, they have Noah Brown, they have Xavier Worthy, they have Hollywood Brown.
They
Like
know who the
what?
heck is Noah Brown? Noah Brown is on Washington.
Or Noah Brown. My bad. Noah Gray.
Noah Gray.
Different
Okay.
color. Different color. Different color. Different color. Different color. Okay.
Okay, so you're really saying that current Travis Kelsey, little
Oh,
small Xavier Worthy, Noah Collar, Justin Watson.
Noah Gray.
Yeah, you said color. You said color.
No, their
So
last names are different colors. Come
I
on.
know, I know. So you're saying me that those guys are better than Christian Kirk, Cape Davis, Evan Ingram, and Brian Thomas
Yes.
Jr. It feels wild to me. I'm not gonna lie
Feels wild.
that those guys are even close. Oh, and they have one knee Juju Smith-Schuster. So I don't know. It really feels like you're grasping at straws there. Maybe, just maybe, is it the QB that is maybe like I don't know, getting these guys up a bit more and doing more with these guys than you should have. You should right now. Maybe that's what Trevor Lawrence should try and do, huh? I'm not mistaken, he's getting like $30 million less than Patrick Mahomes. No, not 30 million, because Mahomes is on 50, I believe. So he's actually getting more API than Mahomes. Maybe he should try and pump those rookie numbers up. Try and do actually something to win a game for his team. But sure, let's just continue this. So all of this to say that I actually think that how this ends up going is that Peterson likely benches Trevor Lawrence after like another loss, for example, just to try and save face when it looks very much like his job is done, just for Mac Jones to lose that game and then he's fired next week. And then Trevor Lawrence gets back and he's the starter the full season. So I think that's how this is about to go right now. It looks like this from the media jabs that Pearson keeps throwing every week. And all of this just to go back and say that he did get the generational tag, but I kind of think he shouldn't have. I mean,
I
in
agree.
Nightside,
I agree with
he
that.
shouldn't have.
I think
But
we've been loosey goosey
even
with
at
the
the time,
generational. How many generational quarterbacks have we had in the last 5 years?
I think it was just Caleb and Trevor.
Is it? You don't think Burrow? I mean,
No,
Burrow might
Burrow
actually be
wasn't.
the exception where it might be right.
I mean, sure. Burrow probably should have gotten that. But again, we're still talking about prospects here. And although
Yeah,
Burrow did
you're
have
right.
that great college,
Burrow wasn't looked at like that. So we're looking at Trevor. We're looking at Caleb, who was 2022.
2022 was, oh, it was the year of the no QBs. It was the year of Kenny Pickett, wasn't it?
Was it Bryce Young, the number one?
No, no, no. 2022, it was the first QB taken. Was definitely not generational because it was at pick 20. It was Kenny
Oh,
Pickett.
Okay, Kenny. Okay, that's fair.
Kenny Smallhands.
Yep, and then the next one was Bryce Young, and he definitely did. Okay,
Bryce
yeah,
Young.
that's fair.
He didn't.
That's fair. I
So
still think we
at
use
least
it too much, but twice in the last 5 years is still crazy.
at least in my eyes, it was once in the last 5 years. But yeah, in general, they used it twice. Again, I think we went from Andrew Luck as generational to Caleb as generational, and that's it. still think that Caleb as a prospect was generational. I still think that if you look at his trends right now, I mean, he's improving. Like, I like how our good fellow here of the show, Austin, stayed really quiet when Caleb got another dub. Bears are now 2-2, and he did quite well, actually. Like, if you look at his numbers, it was actually quite a fun ride. I'm trying to find it here. Uh, there you go. Twitter never fails me. So, Caleb Williams, zero turnover worthy plays, according to PFF. Adjusted completion percentage, which accounts for drops, was 81%. Average depth of target was 7 yards, and he was pressured on 11 of his 26 dropbacks. So as soon as the line starts improving, as soon as they got a run game going, the first time that they rushed for over 100 yards as a team, all of a sudden, no mistakes. He had one heck of a touchdown throw to DJ Moore that I have not seen being brought up enough. Very like, I don't know how you say it, short window. Let's put it like that. Like there was a very narrow window to get that ball into DJ Moore, and he got it there, right in the end zone. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from Caleb. It just seems like he's a rookie improving, week in, week out. So, is he the best rookie QB right now? No, Jaden Daniels is probably better, but he's the second best rookie QB right now. So,
Oh. Yeah, I guess that's true. But to be fair, most of them aren't. Well, not most of them. Penix isn't playing. May isn't playing. So it's kind of hard to
AJ
judge.
McCarthy is dead.
Yeah, JJ McCarthy's not going to play this whole year. Yeah, it's kind of an unfair judgment.
So he's better than Bo Nix, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but yeah,
Who at the half, if I'm not mistaken, had -7 yards passing versus the Jets. And they won that game. Speaking of that game, the Jets have now dropped to 2-2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, they lost to the Denver Broncos.
They lost to the Denver Broncos. The kicker missed the field goal late that would have put them ahead. That game was nasty for most of it, like very low scoring. I mean, there was barely any offense in the first half. But eventually, they lost that game. And my question here is, when is Salah on the hot seat?
He should already be on the hot seat.
Okay, so we're on the same page. He should be on the hot seat. Because this offense looks a bit, and it's hard because like last week they played great versus New England, who we think they have an actual decent defense. Maybe they don't, and it was just like a 2 week thing or a 1 week thing. Maybe it was just like the win versus the Bengals, who started off as cold as an ice cube, straight out of the freezer. And apparently they're just bad. But like versus the Patriots on Thursday Night Football, they played very good on offense. They got the win, and now they go here. And I think it's a combination, actually. I think it's a combination of the weather that really messed up the whole thing. That it was very bad weather in general, and just that I think the Broncos have a better defense than we are giving them credit for.
Look at the
I
problem
think
is their offense is so atrocious it kind of takes away credit from the defense.
I mean, for sure. Bo Nix ends the week with 12 for 25 passing, 60 yards running. And his first touchdown pass of the year. And the Jets lost to that. So, there's likely issues there. It feels like that Jets team, the offense has some issues at times. How concerned are you? And I'll throw a fantasy football question here. Braylon Allen, 8 carries, 34 yards. Bryce Hall, 10 carries, 4 yards. In the receiving game, Bryce Hall had 5 targets to Braylon Allen's 1, but they ended up with nearly the same amount of yards as well, even though Bryce Hall had 2 catches to Braylon Allen's 1. How concerned are you about Bryce Young?
You mean Bryce Hall?
Bryce Hall, yeah. Bryce Young. You
Brees
should
Hall.
be Bryce Hall. Bryce Hall. You
Brees
should be
Hall.
very concerned. You should be very concerned about Bryce Hall, Bryce Young. But Bryce Hall, how concerned are you about him?
Not really. I think they just have two really good running backs. I'm not gonna lie, and they're struggling to find a balance in giving both of them touches because the thing is, Brees Hall is really really good, but Brandon Allen is also like so good you can't just like justify giving Brees all of the touches. So I think they're trying to find a balance with that. It's kind of like in Green Bay when they had Aaron Jones and was it AJ Dillon? Was AJ Dillon the
I mean, it was AJ Dillon for a while, and then maybe you're thinking
Jamal
about
Williams?
Jamal Williams, yeah,
Yeah, I was
who
thinking about
was a
Jamal.
few
Yeah,
years with
like
him.
yeah. But anyway, like Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, they're kind of trying to figure out a balance between the two in touches. But you knew that Aaron Judge was the back you
And
wanted in fantasy because
Bryce
and that's
Young, Aaron Judge, all of those guys you're coming into the podcast when they're not even playing.
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no, I think both are good running backs, and I think Brees is fine.
I'm a bit worried purely because this was supposed to be the type of game in which Brees Hall was featured more, a game in which they were behind, a game in which they needed to throw the football more. I was expecting an heavier usage for Brees Hall and Braylon Allen to only be used when they're up in games or when the game is under control, just to hammer the ball a bit more here and there. And it doesn't really feel like that was the case here. Yeah, maybe it was just a 1 week thing. And the NFL again, the National Fake You Out League, as usual. Maybe it's an over exaggeration, but still, that seems like a fishy situation in general. If I have Brees Hall in
Oh, you want
redraft,
to move them? You want to move them? Yeah.
the thing is, what will you get though in redraft? Who can you like actually target?
That's a good question. Depends.
Because
What's the name?
coming out of a 3.8 point week, it's not the best, but the thing is, next week you face likely the best defense in the NFL in the Minnesota Vikings, or a top 3 unit at least.
God.
It could get worse before it gets better, so maybe you just have to weather the storm here for a bit.
Yeah, you kind of have to hold. I'm not sure. Oh, I don't know. Maybe there's a deal that come along, but you're talking about things like going for Buck Irving for Brees. I don't know. Honestly, maybe that wouldn't be the worst deal because I do think Buck Irving is going to supplant Rashad White.
Buck Irving straight up for Brees Hall.
But yeah, that's not the most ideal deal. That's what I was saying.
That's bold, man. That's bold. Let's put it like that. I was at least thinking that maybe you would have gone for, I don't know, a Jameer Gibbs. You give something up with Breeze for Jameer, or you go for, I don't know, a Bijan who's also not doing a whole lot so far.
Bijan is also someone who probably shouldn't have had the generational put on them.
Yes. Speaking of that team and players who shouldn't have had a generational tag, is there a concern with Kyle Pitts? 0 points this week.
3 targets.
3 targets.
I don't know. I got nothing on Kyle Pitts.
You are a Kyle Pitts owner in a dynasty league.
That is unfortunately true.
What are you doing with Kyle Pitts?
Holding and hoping it works out and just staying to the end. Basically, at this point, if you still got Kyle Pitts, then yeah. I wouldn't suggest going on the wagon.
There's
Not a
there's
fun
two
wagon.
things. There's two things that are quite concerning for me here. Is that it appears like they're actively going away from using him because through 4 weeks, this is his route share from week 1 to week 4. Week 1, 79% route share. Week 2, 71% route share. Week 3, 65% route share. Week 4, 58% route share. So you've effectively dropped down nearly, no, not nearly, but over 20% points in route share. So you're running 20% less routes than you were at the start of the season, which I think it's far from ideal at this point. And again, in terms of like overall usage, although the schemes have changed, the coaching has changed, but across the years, 2021, he had 6.5 targets per game. 2022, 5.9 targets per game. 2023, 5.3 targets per game. 2024, you're now at 3.8 targets per game.
Not good.
So
Not.
it just feels like they want to use everyone but him.
And here's the point where I tell you Kyle Pitts is still a top 20 tight end in the league. Isn't that sad? the
Oh,
state
buddy.
the state of tight end.
We really thought this was the year.
But no, seriously, he top I think it's top 15 in points, actually,
Yeah,
with a 0 point week. That's just sad. Tight ends are just sad. So
he is tight end 15 on the year.
it's just
Heck,
sad.
Isaiah Likely is tight end 6 on the year.
With that one game. With the
He
one
hasn't,
game.
with the one game, he hasn't scored over 4 points the rest of the season. Like in each game, like he scored 3.6, 0.9, 3.1, and he's tight end 6 on the year. It's really a terrible state to be in right now.
Yeah. You don't have it. If you have a tight end, you don't have an advantage. That's like
Just
I'm trying to think of a
terrible.
tight end who didn't start the year bad. Kelsey started the year bad. Andrews might actually be so bad he might be cutting him by the end of the year if this doesn't improve. Um, God, who else was a staple tight end? George, I haven't checked in on George Kittle. How's George Kittle doing?
He's tight end 2 on the season,
Okay, George Kittle.
and he missed the game.
He missed it.
He
George
missed the
Kittle.
game, but he has 2 games over 14 points. He has
George
20.6
Kittle
and 14.5.
is the model of consistency at the tight end position. Sam
Yeah,
Laporta has definitely dropped considerably from last year.
I don't even know what he's doing, Sam Laporte. It feels like he's blocking most games. I think for the start of the season, it looked like Trey McBride might be the only like glimmer of hope, and then he got injured because he was at least getting consistent numbers in terms of routes, in terms of targets. So even in the game in which he went out, I mean, still 6 targets. That's like great for a tight end at this point. But his targets went from 9, 6, 6. So that's fairly good for a tight end. Dallas Goedert is tight end 1 on the season. He has 27 points on week 3, and if I'm not mistaken, that game alone, if he didn't play any other game and he just had that week 3 27 points, he would be tight end 15 on the season. So that's more points than Kyle Pitts has across the first 4 weeks.
Crazy.
It's really not good at this point in the tight end league. In fantasy, do you think that I know this has been a thing
It's a
for a
mixture.
while now,
Go
but do
ahead.
you think like eventually we will get like the mainstream being that no tight ends league exists, like tight end flex league, basically? So instead of actually having to use a tight end, you have a
You
tight
missed
end like yeah, you have like a flex spot in which you can use the tight end position.
No, I don't think that'll ever happen.
Because I'm seeing some steam on it, like much like, for example, the kickers or the defense are being thrown aside. I mean, with the state of tight ends, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. It's either that or you start giving up like those premiums to the tight end receptions or the catch or the yards or the touchdowns, something like that. Because boy, if you're playing in like regular PPR, this is
Tight ends are
like
bad, yeah.
oh Jesus Christ, dude. Like tight end one has 54.1 points uh across the first like 6 weeks. That's good for in term and this is for PPR. That's good for wide receiver 16 on the season. And again, that is the absolute best because then if you look at like the tight end two, you're looking at production similar to a Darnell Mooney, who's wide receiver 37 on the season. If you compare it to, for example, a running back,
Darnell Mooney.
yeah,
Oh, man.
if you look at like running back, 43 points. So you're basically if you started George Kittle every single week in which he was healthy to go, you would have had the same amount of points as if you started Justice Hill.
That's bad.
That's very bad.
That's
Okay, so games that we should probably talk about. Are the Washington Commanders the best team in the AFC East?
NFC.
Yeah,
No.
NFC East. Who's better than the Commanders?
Team, the Eagles.
Not in record.
Not in record.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I look at this offense again, Jaden Daniels, through the 4 weeks, like, he has the highest completion percentage of any QB ever across the first 4 weeks of any given season. So his completion percentage is over 80%. He looks poised in the pocket. Another great performance. I mean, he had an interception in which the ball was slightly underthrown, should have had a bit more zip in it. And that's really the only big mistake that he made. Other than that, I mean, they're just gashing the team that they play against for like 5 yard runs, 6 yard runs, 7 yard runs, 8 yard runs. I mean, JD McNichols did amazing. Like it seems like whoever they put in there just gets points, gets usage, gets everything. He's not developing a connection with Terry McLaurin. So Terry McLaurin started the season a bit rough. People were kind of doubting him. Now he had 20 points last week versus your Bengals. This week he follows that up with 10 targets, 7 catches, 52 yards, and a touchdown. A bit more involved in the deep passing game as well. They are just playing good football. Zach Ertz looks like his younger self. Noah Brown is their second best receiver in this team right now, which goes with the reports that I've seen back when he first signed with the team. This offense looks great. I don't think they've ever had 42 points, or like the last time in which they scored 42 points was like a bunch of seasons ago. So like this offense is actually like playing well, and the defense is starting to play a bit better as well. Like the secondary has been one of the worst in football for 2 years straight. They're playing a bit better. They sort of like took some of the heat out of this Arizona Cardinals team after a good week last week versus the which team did they face? The Lions, in which they lost, but again should have won that game. I don't know. I feel like this team is for sure the best team in the AFC East. Like the Eagles were down 17-0 in like the first quarter or something like that. Like they can't stop anyone. They are without their two best receivers, so their offense effectively can't do anything. Their coach is a dipshit, for lack of a better word. Like, I don't know what you're doing when you don't have your two best weapons on the field on offense in terms of like wide receivers, and you have one big weapon in which you've paid a massive amount of money on the offseason. And what do you do with him? 10 carries. 10 carries, 4 targets. That's it. He got 10 carries for 84 yards. Maybe give them a ball a bit more. Just maybe. I don't know. That Eagles team looks god awful. The offense isn't clicking. The defense is shit. Their head coach is terrible. Like, can we take a second and look at the head coaches in this division? You have dipshit Nick Sirianni, who thinks that he's some sort of magician, but in actuality is just very, very awful. You have Mike McCarthy, who again, like, I mean, the way that you're coaching, buddy, you should have retired a few years ago because, damn, that shit is terrible. And then you have Brian Dable, who had that very good season when he first got into the Giants, but like the only thing that he seems to do now and does well right now is tell Daniel Jones to throw the ball to Malik Nabers, and that's basically it.
Tell Daniel Jones to throw the ball to the fleet.
Yeah, it's like that Fresh Prince of Bel Air thing that we talked about. It's like if Malik Nabers is covered, pass to Malik Nabers. If he's open, pass to Malik Nabers. If he's injured, pass to Malik Nabers. And it's like doesn't matter. Just throw the ball to that dude. You'll eventually get points in. And to be fair, they looked probably the best that they've looked versus the Cowboys on primetime for the past, I don't know, since they've all got in there, I think.
Oh yeah, they have Malik Nabers. That's the offense.
So yeah, that's the offense. And then you have like this Washington Commanders team that I didn't like the coaching hire. People weren't really too high on them. But again, they looked polished on offense. Like they're not making mistakes. They're running the ball with precision. They're running the ball for chunks. They're controlling time of possession. If the defense elevates the play, which I think they've done here a bit versus Arizona, I think this team could make some noise.
I don't think. I think the team has a bright future. I don't think they're ending the season winning the division. That's probably going to be something that comes back to bite me later. But I don't care.
3-1.
They are 3-1.
Do they make the playoffs at least?
If they don't win the division, no, I don't believe so.
Okay. Your Bengals finally win on the board. The red BB gun did not get his revenge game. Hey, man, you didn't beat the Jags, man. Did you see that game at all?
No, I was working.
Oh,
all
yeah.
the games.
New schedule now.
I saw
Hey.
T. Higgins got a bunch of targets. How'd he look?
He looked like he's a player recovering from an hamstring injury, so doesn't look like he's 100% back, but he's getting there.
He looked
I
a
think
little
the
bit, what you're
offense,
saying is he looked a little bit slow, but he's 6'4", so he can catch balls anyway. So
yeah,
it
pretty
didn't matter
much.
too much, just a little bit.
Yeah, he still played less snaps than Andre Yoshivas. He played 43 snaps to Yoshiva's 51. But yeah, it feels very much like it's gonna be Chase, it's gonna be Higgins, still the same type of thing. And I think where Yoshivas plays a role, and it's probably gonna be an important role, is gonna be in the red zone. Especially, he's gonna be that big body guy that is gonna catch a touchdown every now and then. I think there's a possible, like, if this offense keeps improving, I could see him finishing the season with an healthy amount of touchdowns, like 6, 7. That's definitely a possibility. This was a game in which Chase Brown got a bit more involved, although in terms of snaps, it was still like 27 snaps to Chase Brown to 40 snaps to Zach Moss.
Chase
In
Brown,
terms
I
of,
was told, looked a lot better.
yeah, he looked explosive. He looked like the Chase Brown that people were expecting.
Chase
to
Brown did?
see. Yeah, and he ended up with 18 opportunities, so he got 15 carries, then had to that 3 targets as well.
I do
And Zach
think the Bengals, and
Moss,
this is why the Bengals backfield is terrible for fantasy. I do think the Bengals are just going to run with whoever has the hot hand that game is going to be the dude who gets the touches.
yeah, but Zach Moss also had he had 19 opportunities, so he had the same amount of carries, 15, but 4 targets instead of 3. So I mean, for fantasy, they both both fairly well actually. Zach Brown had 17.8 points. Samaje Perine had a bit more because he had more touchdowns. So he ended the week with Samaje Perine. Jesus Christ, dude, that's a throwback.
Well, yeah,
Bengals
Samaje
legend
Perine.
Samaje Perine. But no, Zach Moss ended the week with 18 points, 18 fantasy points in full PPR. Chase Brown ended up with around 23.2. So the extra touchdown was basically the difference there. But yeah, offense looked a bit more improved. The defense made some stops when it mattered. But again, I think the big storyline here, outside of you guys getting the first win, is that the Panthers still look like a very competent team. Doesn't seem like it was a 1 week wonder.
He doesn't see. So,
Um,
one of the reports came out said that Bryce Young would be starting again at some point this season. Do you believe that or not?
yeah, at some point, if Andy Dalton suddenly breaks his knee, someone breaks his knee, maybe the way that he's playing right now, unless I don't know, they are 1-3, maybe they lose a few more games and they're staring at a 2-8, 1-7 type of record. Maybe they turn back to the rookie, give him another chance. But if they are competitive in games and they are trying to make the playoffs, which again with this division that no one seems to want to win, uh, it's entirely possible. I don't know when we'll see Bryce Young again because there's a massive difference in the offense right now. This is an actual NFL offense. The
I
players
think
in
we'll see
here.
Bryce Young again. Funny enough, I think the NFL is too big with egos that the GM, because the GM that's currently there is the one that drafted Bryce Young. Is that correct?
Yes.
We'll see Bryce Young again.
Yeah. Again, I think we will. I'm not sure if it's going to be on the Panthers, but I think we
No,
will.
well. Oh, you
It,
you think he'll move him?
I don't know. There's some rumors to that.
Interesting. I don't know.
The rumors that they have categorically denied, but there's still rumors hanging around. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how all of this continues to play out. But again, it's hard to look at this team producing what they're doing on offense. In which, for example, you got guys like Xavier Legette, who's now getting 10 targets and producing with them. Deontay Johnson
Yep.
getting 13 targets, producing with them.
Xavier Leggett, who I told people to look out on.
Yeah, for sure. You got the touchdown catch as well. So good call on you. But all of those guys are now producing. And unless they completely fell out of the race for any sort of playoff spot, it's hard to look at guys in that locker room in the eyes and say, yeah, we're gonna roll back Bryce Young and we're gonna have a CFL offense again. Other than that, guess the game that we should talk about the most. How
Say that
about
again.
them Vikings?
Oh my God. Hobble Jordan Love looked good enough to beat them.
Did he beat them?
He did not, but he looked good enough
Ha
to.
ha! Okay, so that's all that matters in the end. The
Yeah.
best team in the NFL, the Minnesota Vikings. 4-0 right now. Defense still looks deadly. They tried to throw that game away, but in the end, Doesn't matter. They got the win. Addison was back this week. He was involved in different ways. He only had 3 targets. He ran 28 routes, which is second most in this team outside of Justin Jefferson, who ran 32 routes. Overall, good showing by the Vikings in general. Like, they were piling it up on the Packers. Jordan Love looked a bit rusty, having not played football since that week. Which was it? Week
Week 1.
2 or week 1
Week 1.
in Brazil? Okay. Week 1 in Brazil versus the Eagles. He looked a bit rusty. By the end of the game, although he still lacked some of his mobility, he was playing a bit better. But the Vikings hang on to this win that should have been a little bit less sweaty than it ended up being. And they are now 4-0. Sam Darnold, I know you won't like this. I know you won't. But is Sam Darnold the current NFL MVP?
No.
I don't know, dude. I'm looking at him. I don't know. I definitely think he has a case.
Actually, hold on.
Leads the league in So yeah, basically, like, if you look at the stats at this point, Sam Darnold is the MVP of the league, and it's like not only does he lead the league in touchdowns, but it's also like if you look at the big time throw percentage, for example, he is top 10. If you look at the adjusted yards per attempt, he is top 10. If you look at the adjusted completed percentage, he's top 10. If you look at yards per attempt, he's also top 10. So, I mean, he's the only one that is like consistently inside of those top 10s. Plus, he is leading the league in touchdowns. He's the only guy with over 10 touchdowns so far on the season, throwing, that is. So, and I believe the only other guy that has 10 touchdowns, period. So both throwing and passing. Both throwing and passing, both running them and throwing them. It's Baker Mayfield, so that's a storyline for you.
You know, I was trying to tell you to tell the people that we lost the audio from the second half of the recording.
I just
Not
wanted to finish at
pretend,
this point.
Not you. Okay. So the Sam Darnold point, you just had to finish before telling people that we lost the audio from the second half of this episode, and we had to re-record it.
In a whole different day. So we're just like continuing
This
a conversation that we had like almost 24
you're
hours ago.
doing that.
I'm doing
Doing
that.
that. You're doing that.
I just want the people to know who's the MVP of the league right now. And that's basically it.
I'll have my response next week.
Yeah, next episode. So this one will come out on what? Now this one comes out what? Tomorrow or Thursday?
This one is
Yes.
going to come out Thursday.
Okay, Thursday. So the other one, Sunday. Stay tuned. We'll let you know more at the end of the show. That leaves basically the picks. We had other things that we talked about yesterday that did not record. Today we're jumping straight into the picks, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so we have a bit of an advantage here because now the lines have locked. When we did this last night, the lines weren't locked, so we had some room here to change a thing or two if need be on the next episode. But now Thursday night football was Monday night football, that is, was played, the doubleheader, and the lines are set here on the
I'm
on the
actually
app. If I'm
resetting
not
all of
mistaken.
mine so that I don't know what I picked before.
Okay, got
Well,
it. Okay, I'll do it.
don't
I'll do that
remember.
as well. Is
So,
there a way for like resetting all of them?
You have to click on the one you picked, not all of them at
Okay.
the same time. So.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But now we have the
Okay.
advantage of lines being locked. Doesn't
Yes. At
doesn't
least they
look like
should be.
too many changed.
No,
That
I
Miami
don't
line
think so.
should change. That Miami line didn't change.
No,
Okay,
that's still
well.
the same. So they
Wow.
weren't expecting a great match from Pro Bowl Tyler Snoop Huntley.
I don't
Surprisingly enough,
see a line that really did change.
I think Denver changed. I think it was 1.5 yesterday, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But that's really the only one that I'm seeing that could have changed.
Yeah.
And I'm not
and
sure.
Green.
Was Jacksonville not a 3.5 point favorite? Didn't we talk about that yesterday?
Yeah.
So I think that one changed as well. Those are the only ones, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so bit of a recap. Both of us went over
We have the
500.
Monday night results, so we can add those, Alex. Let's add them, Alex. What's the Monday night results say, Alex?
Shut up. Okay.
What's the result?
So you won the week at 10-6. I went 9-7. I was feeling good, especially that Seahawks game. I definitely think I should have covered that because we had a chance going into in the 2 minutes, we basically had the chance for the touchdown. We had plenty of attempts at the end zone. We didn't get any. I'm kind of like, that's a loss that I'm okay with because I think we played well enough. I think the defense definitely had issues in terms of like run stopping. They were incapable of stopping any run. But I am fairly okay with that loss because the offense still played great. I think if the DK Metcalf fumble doesn't happen and if we if we get closer to the end zone, I think we have a good chance there to at least score a touchdown. I think we were unlucky not to score there. I'm just grateful that it's finally Kenneth Walker time back in Seattle because, oh boy, is he fun to watch. Did you see that one play? Did you watch any of the game or no?
No.
Okay, so there was this one play, and I can send you the video of it afterwards. But it's basically like, I believe it's in the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken, where he is running with the football. I'm not sure if it was a pass or if it was just like a stretch run to the outside on the left. And he catches the football or he runs with the football. And there's a defender there, which I believe it's Jack Campbell, who is there to stop him, basically wraps him up to tackle him. And like he manages to not only not fall upon immediate contact, he bends over Jack Campbell. Then he sees that he's not following. He bends over the other way, almost like doing a somersault. Gets rid of Jack Campbell and picks up like 2-3 yards just off of that. Like he's just such an amazing player to watch, man. It's like you watch that and then you watch Zach Charbonnet and it's like Zach Charbonnet is alright. Yeah, it's basically what you come down to. He's very much a guy. Kenneth Walker is just special, man. So I'm just glad that he's finally back. And I'm still happy with this team overall, even though we lost by like 11 points or something. 13, that is, 13 points. I'm still fairly happy with this team. Like, I think there were a few plays in there that if we could play a bit better, we definitely win that game. For example, there were missed tackles on the run, for example. We couldn't really stop the run, but there were plays in which, like, for example, David Montgomery should have been tackled. We fell on those tackles. There was like a 75-yard touchdown to JMO that we basically, like, JMO just appeared out of nowhere, and there was one defender that he needed to beat. He beat them, and like in a day and age in which like all of the NFL defenses are playing two high safeties, apparently we decided that it's good to leave the one guy that has like a 4.3 speed just run completely open and not playing that. At least it didn't seem like we were playing too high safety. I would need to watch back the all 22 to make sure of that, but upon replay, it did not look like a too deep high safety. Of the Miami game, I mean, it was just a shit show overall. Tyler Huntley's most definitely not a good QB for this offense. So, rough days ahead for Miami. All of this to say that you managed to pull out ahead of me. I felt like this was a great week for me, but you managed to one-up me. And now this is the fourth week, that is, in a row in which you've beaten me by one win. So your record on the season is 31-33. My record on the season is 27-37. So I'm down by like 4 games. We both had a winning record, though.
We did. I'm still gonna do by the logic. I'm telling you, you're like 2-12 week. It's coming.
Or maybe your 2-12 week is coming.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Okay, picks for this week. Week 4. No, week 5, my bad. Week 5, NFL picks. Here we go. Oh, by the way, because we need to recap this as well, since we didn't. At least when we did, it went sideways. For the mineral picks, Angelo went 2-1. He missed the gold pick. He got the other two right. I went 3-0, so I got all of the minerals right. Overall record for the season, Angelo is 1-3 in all 3 minerals. I am 3-1 on bronze, 2-2 on silver, and 1-3 on gold. And now for the week 5 picks. First game, Thursday Night Football. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. This one is, I just don't understand this line. Like, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers look like the best team among the two. They still look somewhat fraudulent at times, but I think, like, defense, they're okay. And the offense, I think it's clicking a bit more than Atlanta right now. So I'm just going to take Tampa Bay plus 3.5.
You're gonna take Tampa Bay plus 3.5. Huh?
That's what I said.
I'm taking Atlanta.
Okay, your loss.
Nah, I'm going against Alex. I win.
Okay.
Okay. Oh God, this again. Vikings Jets. Vikings favored by 2.5 points. I'm not picking the fucking Vikings. Give me the Jets.
And I think I'm going to go with your way as well. I'm going to go with the Jets plus 2.5. I just think that, much like the rationale that I had yesterday, and I just think like they faced this type of pressure before out of the Broncos this week. I'm just hoping that they have managed to learn anything from the Denver Broncos game and try and counter this pressure that they are about to face in Minnesota. Also, the last team that went on to a London game while being undefeated were the 2-0 Baltimore Ravens, and they suffered the worst blowout ever in a London game when they went there. So, nice little tidbit there. Next up, the Carolina Panthers at the Chicago Bears. The Bears are 3.5-point favorites. I'm just going to go with the Bears. I think the defense is good enough for this. I think Caleb is evolving every single week right now. So I'm fairly confident that I'm just going to pick with the Bears here. Bears minus 3.5.
Give me the Panthers.
Okay.
No Alex picks.
You're really against that. Okay. Oh, no, it's your time.
Yeah. Ravens favored by 2.5 in Cincinnati. Originally I went Baltimore but you know what? I'm not picking against my team. Give me Cincy.
I'm also going with Cincy. Like, nah. If you have the curse, though, you're gonna beat yourself over this. But I am also going with Cincinnati plus 2.5. I think they win, as you said yesterday. I do agree. They probably win this game outright.
Yep.
Baltimore is on a high right now. They beat the living crap out of Buffalo in primetime TV. I feel that like this is a prime letdown spot, and I think the Bengals are starting to get into a groove here.
And it's off
I hope.
too. This isn't a primetime game.
Yeah, and this is not a primetime game. It's weirdly enough, it's a 1 p.m. game, which I wasn't expecting this type of matchup to be, but I wasn't expecting
it should be like a second Monday night game or a Thursday night game. Yeah.
Yeah, like at the very least, it's like you move it to the
Sunday night football.
No, to the afternoon slate at the very least.
Oh yeah, you mean where you have the Giants and the Seahawks and the Packers and the Rams? Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Hey, to be maybe you can say that about like I like how you mentioned those two, but you didn't mention the Las Vegas Raiders Denver Broncos.
Oh, they're also how many 4 o'clock games are there? There's 4. Damn, I thought
there's 4 4 o'clock games. No, there's 4.
That's why.
Um,
No, that's the one you sub out.
that's the one you need to kick out. I guess
Yeah.
you can even kick out two because the next game should also deserve one of those slots. But if it's the Buffalo Bills at the Houston Texans, the Houston Texans are 1.5 point favorites. And again, I'm just going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I feel like this is a prime spot in which they bounce back. They got embarrassed on primetime TV on the Sunday Night Football game. They didn't really have a shot from the get go ever since like Derrick Henry broke that big run to start the game off. I feel like this is a prime letdown spot versus a team that, again, I still am not sold on. So I'm just going to go with Buffalo plus 1.5. I think they're the better team, and I think they win this game outright. So
Okay. God, I still don't understand this line. Colts at Jags. Jags are favored by 2.5 points. Give me the Colts. This
you
is
didn't make a
this is one
pick
of
on
those.
the other one, though.
Huh? Oh, I'm taking the Texans. Fuck you.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it. Okay, so Colts Jags.
This is I don't understand this line.
The Jags are now we can say this with all certainty. The Jags are the last winningless team in the league.
At least they got there first.
They're the first winningless team in the league. Is that it? Or you think they're gonna beat the Colts?
No, the Colts are winning. There's no way.
Okay, so they are still gonna be a winningless
Especially
team,
if
the
Joe
Jags.
Flacco's starting. Maybe Anthony
Uh,
Richardson can donate them a win, but
from what I read, it seems like it's gonna be Richardson.
oh now I'm hesitating. Oh fuck.
He apparently they had concerns on Jonathan Taylor that had a high ankle sprain, but apparently it's going to be a mild one, so they are not too concerned. I'm still not entirely certain if he's not going to miss a game because
If
I
Anthony
read
Richardson is
that.
playing, I'm switching to the Jags.
I'm just saying this part on JT because they said like they dodged the bullet because it's a mild one, and then like the next report that I read was they're not considering short-term IR, and then I'm like, so is it actually a good thing? I don't know. I could see him miss a game here, but could also see Anthony Richardson playing, by the way, because he said that, from that same report that I read, it said that the Colts dodged the bullet on him as well, in which he got a hip injury, but it's considered to be one that will be monitored this week, but he should be good to go. So,
Nope. Anthony
are you
Richardson, I do
flipping?
not trust. Yeah, I flipped Jaguars, and Anthony Richardson, I do not trust.
Okay. Hey, I'm gonna go with the Colts either way. Again, this could be Trevor Lawrence's last game, if at least under Doug Peterson, if they don't win, which I don't think I've ever seen a QB got like $300 million and then get benched that same year. But here we are. If they lose this, which I think they will, this is gonna get ugly soon. But yeah, Colts plus 2.5 for me. Next up, it's the Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots, and I think this one I could switch from what we did yesterday because I'm fairly certain that we win Miami minus 1.5. At this point, I don't know, man. I watched that Miami game after the Seattle game this morning. I didn't watch it live, but I watched the game in 40 of both. Miami looks completely lost out there. Like the players are getting angry now. Like I saw Tyreek Hill when Tyler Huntley missed the deep ball to him, just get super angry, just kicking the football. Like he has failed to get 50 yards in 3 straight games, which I believe it's the first time that happened since his rookie season, if I'm not mistaken. And keep in mind, he was like a fifth or sixth round pick at the time, even in KC. So like this team looks all over the place, and I don't think they'll be able to look for a new QB here. So I think I'm just actually gonna go with New England plus 1.5.
Okay, yeah, same. New England 1.5. I can't in good faith.
I had Miami initially, but like after watching that game,
I know I was
that's
happy you
rough,
had
man.
Miami.
Yeah, and now
All
it's
right,
rough looking
Browns,
back.
Commanders favored by 3.5. I have a sneaky suspicion the Browns are going to win this game somehow. Go on.
Are you going with that suspicion then?
Yeah, I'm picking the Browns to win this game.
Okay. I mean, I'm just gonna go with the rookie QB that is like the the league on fire so far. And I mean, the guy is leading the league in completed percentage. He is leading the entire history of the NFL in completing percentages across the first 4 weeks. So he's having a historic start of the season for him, especially as a rookie. I think the defense is getting a bit better as well. So I'm just gonna go with Washington minus 3.5. It's over a field goal, which I'm not super happy about. But I think the way that they play and the way that they dominate time of possession, and how like effective they are with every single play that they run, just give me Washington.
You're up next. Picking the worst game of the week.
Okay. The Las Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are 2.5 point underdogs, favorites, that is. And I think that I'm just going to go with Denver minus 2.5 purely because I think they have a better defense than the Raiders. I think they have an actual very good defense. And I think the offense is eventually going to start and at least move the ball. So I'm just gonna go with the favorite here. I think it's the better coach, it's the better defense. So I'm just gonna go with that. Very much like the Steelers rationale is just picking the best unit on the field at any given time. That's what I'm doing here with
Yeah,
Denver as well.
I'm picking the Raiders. I think the Raiders are going to win this game outright. I think that the Broncos are
The 2-2 Denver
two
Broncos.
two on their high horse right now. Anyway,
Okay.
Arizona, San Francisco. San Francisco favored by 7.5. I'm always going with San Francisco. You can't pay me to pick Arizona.
Hey, but you can pay me because I'm taking Arizona. Arizona plus 7.5. This feels very much like the Rams game from a while back, in which it looked like San Francisco was about to dominate. The Cardinals looked rough at times. But I think this is a team that has some fight in them, and I think the passing game is okay. I think the run game is okay. I think this Niners team should never be a 7.5 point favorite versus any sort of average team because they're just not playing all that great. So give me the Cardinals plus 7.5. I can lay a touchdown. Okay, the Giants at the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks are 5.5 point favorites. This line didn't change, although Seattle lost the game. But again, we still don't know if Neighbors is going to play or not. At this point, is he had a concussion? A concussion you usually miss the next week at this stage in the NFL. But he had a concussion on a Thursday night football game, so he has a bit more time to recover. Maybe he plays. Either ways, though, I like Seattle minus 5.5. I think it's gonna be a close game, but I think we score like a touchdown late to put this game over and win like by 10 or something like that. So give me Seattle minus 5.5.
If Nabers plays, I'm going with the Giants. If not, I'm going with the Seahawks. So
Hey, now you can change it though because we could change it since the lines didn't lock, but now you have to make a decision.
hmm. I'm going to
That's
go
the
with
play.
Nabers playing, and I'm picking the Giants.
Okay.
We'll see. Maybe that was a bad assumption. We'll see. Green Bay, LA Rams. Green Bay is favored by 3.5. You said Cup likely not back this week, but could be back here in the near future. If the Rams don't have Cup or Puka, I'm going with Green Bay. 3.5 isn't enough points.
Yeah, I'm going with the same side here, 3.5 for me. Um, I believe that we might see Cup out there back this week, but it has not been confirmed yet. We
Yeah.
we do know that Puka won't play for at least another month. That's the report that I read, so that's all we have. But yeah, going with Green Bay here as well. Feels easy enough for me.
Yep. All right.
Okay,
Your
the
turn.
Dallas Cowboys at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 1.5 point favorites. Maybe this is the first Russell Wilson game because I have a sneaky feeling that his calf is gonna look okay starting this week. He's gonna be super healthy because we saw what Justin Field turned into when they needed to score points actually to win the game. So give me Pittsburgh minus 1.5. Like again, the rationale, best unit on the field, Steelers defense. Give me that. The Cowboys won't have Michael Parsons, most likely. I believe the Marcus Lawrence is going into IR as well. This is a defense that was all over the place to start, an offense that is looking really rough to start as well. Like even in the game that they usually like annihilate the Giants, that was still a very competitive game until the end. So I just can't trust this team. Like it's the worst
I have a
coach
sneaking
or one of the worst coach.
suspicion the Cowboys are actually going to win this game. It is on prime time, and it feels like a game that they shouldn't win. So Cowboy logic, they're probably going to win it.
Hmm.
Okay, last game, Monday Night Football. Chiefs at home against the Saints. Chiefs are favored by 5.5. I'm sticking with my Saints.
I'm also sticking with your Saints here. Plus 5.5. I feel like this KC team just does enough to win. They don't really care about how much they win for. Doesn't really matter for them. They are just in it to win it.
Saints
They
defense
are
also looks really good.
Their defense looks very good, but it's like they tend to win the games with the high numbers, but usually don't cover it. Like for example, last week I believe it was 7.5 the line, at least the line that we picked, and they ended up winning by 7 on the dot. So they win these games. They don't tend to cover them all that much. 5.5 is tricky because it's usually more in the 6.5 range. But I think like this game, the Saints keep it close enough because I also think the Saints have a solid defense. So yeah, give me the Saints plus 5.5 here as well. And those are it. Do you care to tell me the minerals? Because we didn't
Sure.
do this when we recorded it yesterday, by the way. So it would have been another week in which you forgot. Give it to
I
me.
I'm gonna do Bengals beating the Ravens at gold.
Okay. So Cincinnati plus what? 2.5? Was that the line? Yeah, 2.5.
I'm actually gonna stick with my gut, and I'm gonna say the Browns beating the Commanders is a silver,
That's 3.5. And then
and
for bronze,
let's go with the Texans beating the Bills.
okay. So Houston minus 1.5. Okay. So for my bronze pick, few games that I like here. But I think I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay plus 3.5 for bronze. For silver, I think I'm gonna go with the New Orleans Saints plus 5.5. And for gold, tricky one here. There's not really a pick that I love of that much here of the rest, but I think I'm gonna go with Buffalo plus 1.5. Okay. Anything else to add?
Not really, no.
Okay, so that's all from us. So as we said prior, this show comes out on Thursday. We're not sure if that's going to be the norm going forward on some of the weeks. Like, for example, we're going to have one week in which it's like last week, in which it's the regular times. We drop the shows on Tuesday and on Thursday, and then now that Angelo has a new work schedule, we need to adjust here things a bit. So other weeks it will be either Tuesday and like Thursday or no, not Thursday. It's either Tuesday and like Sunday or Saturday, or it's going to be like it's been this week, so Thursday and Sunday. So next show comes out on Sunday. I hope you enjoy your week. You like going forward. You're going to be listening to this on Thursday Night Football, so enjoy Thursday Night Football. Hope you get some of our picks. Hope we go good here as well. We had a strong week this week, so let's hope this continues. As always, if you're listening on the Spotify app, on the Apple Podcasts app, wherever you're listening to your podcasts, make sure to drop a 5-star review. Make sure to drop us a comment. Turn on the auto downloads as well. That really helps out the show, and it's free. So better for me, better for you, better for the show. And if you're listening to YouTube, just make sure to subscribe. Make sure to drop a comment, turn on the notifications, all the things that you've been doing for quite a while now. And that's it. That's the show. Talk to you guys on Sunday.
See you guys.